Hey everyone, so today's video is going to be a review and two different looks using the new Tarte Maneater After Dark eyeshadow palette. So this video is going to be voiceover style because the audio on my camera broke, so unfortunately I can't talk and film at the same time. I have a new camera coming, so hopefully we won't have to do too many of these style videos, but I thought I would throw it back and do like an old school video because I really wanted to film using this palette. I haven't purchased a Tarte eyeshadow palette in years. I used to love the round palettes they did. Remember the Make Believe in Yourself palette? That one was my favorite. But it's probably been like at least 5 years since I've purchased a palette, but this one definitely caught my eye. It is so gorgeous, and I feel like it's a lot different than what we normally see from Tarte. So I decided to pick it up and try it out. I got mine from Ulta, and just a note, if you are planning on picking it up, Ulta's running a promotion right now where if you grab the palette, you actually get a free gift with purchase. It's not just with the palette, it's with any $30 Tarte purchase. So here's a look at the gift with purchase. It's only while supplies last. I got mine in store, but I think it's available online as well. So it comes with a mini version of their hydrating primer, which feels really nice. I've been testing it out. It's definitely like a lotion-like texture, but it leaves your skin feeling really hydrated, super smooth. And then you get a mini version of the Tarte Maneater mascara, which is really great at separating your lashes and then also adding length. You also get the Shape Tape Glow Wand, which I haven't tried, but I really like it. So it's a sheer liquid brightener, and it gives your skin like this beautiful glowy effect, kind of similar to the new e.l.f. What is it called? e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Highlighter, or I guess what the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter would do. So I just wanted to throw it out there. I feel like it's always nice to get a little bonus. So here's some swatches of the palette. This palette swatches really nicely. So it comes with 11 mattes, 9 shimmers, and then 4 sheens. And it has a mix of warm neutrals, golds, coppers, berries. Tarte is cruelty-free, and this palette is vegan. So I'm really impressed by it, I have to be honest. Again, I haven't tried a Tarte palette in what feels like years at this point, so I'm not sure how it compares to their other formula, but this palette does perform nicely. So let me show you the first look. For this look, I wanted to do kind of like a berry toned look. So I'm starting with this lighter pink called Lust, and I'm just blending this into the crease as a transition color. I will list all of the brushes that I used in the description in case you're curious, but I think the mattes in this palette are a little bit powdery, but so blendable, really smooth on the eyes. They honestly blend out without a lot of effort, and what's nice about these is they're buildable. So you can go in with a soft layer or build them up gradually to get a more intense look. I've really come to appreciate buildable matte shadows over the last year or two because I used to love really intense pigmentation right away, but I feel like sometimes that can be a little bit more difficult to work with, especially if you're doing like kind of like an easy everyday look. And I feel like my eyeshadow style is not quite as bold as it used to be. So I definitely appreciate something softer. Honestly, after these two shades, I feel like this would be like the perfect everyday look, and then just throw like a light shimmer on the lid and that would be great. But I wanted to use a lot of the shadows as I was testing it out. Also, I dyed my hair right before this video, so if you see hair dye along my part, that's what's going on there. It turned out a little bit darker than I was expecting, but I feel like I'm just gonna go with it because it will fade in a few days. So next I wanted to take this berry tone shade. Sometimes shades like this can be a little bit difficult. This is the color Moody, but I have to say this one blended out really nicely. Now, if you're new to my videos, I have like this dry area on my right eye, kind of like right above my crease where eyeshadow never wants to stick or blend. But I have to say, I feel like this even blended really nicely over that area too. It did take a little bit of building, but again, I kind of prefer that these days just because you can do a lighter, softer wash of color, or you can build it up to be a little bit more intense. So I'm just really focusing this in the outer corner to add some drama to the look and just working on blending it, especially in that area where I have trouble with eyeshadow. And then I'm just doing the same thing on the other eye. I kind of cut out a little bit of the blending on the left eye just because I didn't want this video to be too long, but I really didn't have a lot of trouble with these shadows. And I feel like when I do have trouble on my right eye, I can always tell if it's the shadow or my eye when I blend them on the left, and this blended really well on the left. For the lid, I'm taking this really gorgeous shimmer. The shimmers in here are so intense. They're really, really pretty. I know they describe some as metallics and some as sheens, but I feel like overall they're all pretty intense. I would kind of describe most of them as metallics. There are a couple that I guess could kind of be used as toppers, but if you use your finger, they all look pretty intense on the eyes. I definitely think these metallics perform best with your finger. I tried using a brush for like the inner corner highlight, and I used them a different day with a brush just to see, but they didn't really go on as intensely with a brush. So I recommend using your finger. Next, I'm taking this shade On the Prowl, just kind of on top of the other shimmer to brighten things up even more. There wasn't a lot of fallout with the matte shadows, but there was a good amount of fallout with the shimmer shadows. So just keep that in mind. You might want to do your eyes first, or you might just want to clean things up afterwards. If you do use a brush and wet your brush, that will kind of take care of some of that fallout. But again, I just prefer to use my finger. So on the lower lash line, I'm just using that berry shade Moody and just running that along my lower lash line to tie things together. I wanted to use the black shadow in the palette. This is called Animal Instinct. So I used this to line my eyes. And it's really nice. It's great if you prefer to use shadow instead of eyeliner, which is something I've been doing lately. So I just took like an angled brush and kind of created a wing with eyeshadow, and it is dark, it's dramatic for sure. So this is a nice shade if you want to do a really dramatic look. I will say there aren't a lot of super dark mattes in this palette, so it's nice to have the black just to deepen things up. For the lower lash line, I'm just using the Too Faced Killer Liner in the lighter nude shade. I'll link everything that I used in the description in case you guys want to check it out. And then to highlight, I just used the shade Playful, which is kind of like a light creamy white matte. So this is perfect for a highlight color for me. And then for the lashes, I've actually been loving the new Tartelette tubing mascara. If you guys watch my videos, you know that I kind of have trouble with tubing mascaras. They really don't always work for me, but I feel like they're more popular than ever, so a lot of brands are launching them. I picked this one up and it is so good. It's the best tubing mascara I've ever tried. It makes my lashes look so long. It's great on my upper lashes, but also on my lower lashes because I feel like a lot of mascaras just don't enhance those very well. But this one grabs onto every lash, and my eyes have been so irritated lately by every mascara, but not this one. It's actually going to be on sale for 21 Days of Beauty, I think later this week, so I definitely recommend picking it up. I'm totally grabbing another one. For the inner corner, I just took that bright white highlight shade and just placed that on there, and then I tried to go in with one of the shimmers, but again, the shimmers just don't perform well with a brush, so I took this on the brush and placed it in the inner corner. You get a little bit of pop, or you get a little pop of shimmer, but I would have preferred just to use like an actual highlight. So that is the complete first look. Just kind of like a softer berry toned look, nothing too over the top, maybe a little bit more dramatic than I usually go for like day-to-day wear, but everything came together really well. I think the shadows blended out perfectly. A little bit of patchiness on my right eye, but again, that's not due to the shadow because it blended really well on the left eye. It's just due to that dry area on my eye that I can't seem to get rid of. Okay, moving on to the second look, I wanted to do like a true warm toned look. So I'm starting with the shade Desire, which is a matte yellow. This is actually a really pretty color. I think it works really nicely as a transition color. It would also be great if you kind of want to use it all over the lid, but very blendable, really smooth. You can't build this one up to be too intense. It's a little bit of a softer shade, but again, I think it is nice as a transition. Then I took the shade Passion, which is a shade that I'll probably wear a lot with this palette. It's just kind of like a medium, warmer brown, and I blended this one into the crease and then up into the yellow just to define it a little bit more. This starts off really soft, but again, you can definitely build it up if that's something you want to do. Like I said earlier, it's missing a lot of like deeper matte shadows. There is like a deeper berry that you saw me use earlier, a black, and then a darker brown that I'm going to use in this video. But other than that, a lot of the matte shadows are a little bit lighter or kind of mid-toned. So I just feel like maybe if you want something really dramatic, you might want to skip over this or pull in another palette. But the shimmers are so stunning, and that's always what I look for in palettes. Like I always want really beautiful shimmers because I feel like I have a lot of matte shadows that I already love. So I think overall the quality with both the matte and the shimmer formula is really, really good. If you guys have used a lot of Tarte palettes lately, you'll have to let me know, like, how does this compare to other Tarte palettes you've tried? Is it really similar to the Tartelette palettes? I don't know, like the last one that I really remember using is the Make Believe in Yourself, and I loved the shimmers in that one, but this formula is different. Like the shimmers are very creamy, really smooth, and they're just really intense on the eyes, so I'm a big fan for sure. And then I'm using this darker brown in the outer corner just to define things a little bit more. I always do kind of a similar look when I'm testing palettes. I'll blend like a couple colors in the crease, take a darker color on the outer corner, and then shimmers all over the lid just to see what I can do, and honestly, that's kind of like what I go for with most palettes overall, but definitely when I'm testing it out. So my technique doesn't change too much. So I'm just building this one up in the outer corner before I go in with some different shimmers. I have to say the shadows stayed vibrant throughout the day. Sometimes with palettes, they'll look really nice initially, and by the end of the day, they'll be completely faded. That really didn't happen with this one. So again, the quality is really great. You just might want to do your eyes first before the rest of your face because of the fallout with the shimmer shadows. I'm taking the shade Heated all over the lid. This was definitely one of the more intense metallics. It's so gorgeous. It looks like liquid copper all over the eyes. It's really pretty. And it's a little bit of like a thinner formula, so I felt like this one didn't have as much fallout. Like there's definitely some differences between the shadows. If you look at the palette, some of them have imprints, some of them don't. The shimmers that don't have imprints don't really have as much fallout. And I don't know if those are meant to be the sheens. It's hard to know for sure, but this one is really intense, really gorgeous. Then I'm just taking a brush to blend it into the crease, make sure everything looks really seamless before I go in with one more shimmer all over the lid. So as I'm kind of wrapping up this look, let me share my final thoughts on the palette. I think the palette is really good. It is a little bit more of an expensive palette, but you get quite a few shadows in here. It's $54. So honestly, $54 for a mainly neutral palette might not be something for you if you do prefer a lot of color or you have a lot of neutral palettes in your collection. But if you're someone who really likes Tarte or you like their shadows or you're just curious about it, I do think the quality is really nice. Again, I'm someone who is typically really drawn to shimmer shadows in a palette, and the shimmers in here did not disappoint. They're really gorgeous on the eyes. For eyeliner, I'm just using this new ColourPop eyeliner in a brown shade, which again, I'll link below because I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But I have to say it went on really nicely. Normally eyeliners that come in this form where you dip the brush into the pot are not my favorite, but I was able to get a really sharp wing with this, so I'm really impressed by it. And then I just used a ColourPop eyeliner for the waterline in like a really pretty shimmery brown. But what's nice about this palette is you can also do something really soft. Obviously for today's video, I went a little more dramatic just because I wanted to use as many shadows as possible, but I think you can do something very soft, very quick and easy too. So I have to say it's probably one of the best palettes I've tried so far in 2022. I haven't really been super excited about a ton of eyeshadow palettes. I feel like there have been some really nice options. The last one that I was probably this excited about was the Patrick Ta Major Dimension 2, but I do really love this one. Again, for the inner corner, I probably would have skipped the shimmer shadows and just gone in with a highlighter, which I did end up doing. I just wanted to show you what I did first. I tried to place like an actual shimmer on the eyes, but the shimmers are a little bit deeper than I normally go for inner corner highlight. So then I just took a highlighter and kind of brightened it up a little bit more. For the lashes, I'm just using the Tarte Maneater mascara. After using this again, I have tried this in the past. I do prefer the new Tartelette tubing. I think it made my lashes look a lot more dramatic than this one, but this one is nice if you want like lifted, separated lashes. I'm just really impressed by the new tubing formula because normally tubing formulas are not my favorite. So anyway, final thoughts on the palette. I think it's gorgeous. The quality is really nice. If you have something similar, you don't need to run out and buy it. Obviously, at this point, a lot of us have quite a few palettes in our collection, but I wanted to share my thoughts on it because I was excited to try it out and it definitely did not disappoint. If you want to check it out in person, my Ulta did have a display. You might want to swatch the shimmers because again, they're really intense, really pretty, but the texture is a little bit different from what I've tried from Tarte in the past. So I like it. I think it's a great palette. I definitely recommend it if you're looking for a new go-to warm neutral palette, but it also has some cool tones. It has some softer shades. It's just a nice option. And I do think it's going to be one of my top palettes of 2022. We'll see. I feel like a lot of brands haven't been doing palettes that have really been drawing me in. But when I saw this one, I was really curious. So I'm glad I picked it up. I hope today's video was helpful. If you guys have any questions on it, let me know in the comments below. And I will be back to normal videos later this week without the voiceover style. But thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.